Volume 4. Doctrinal Exegesis. Part A. 14 Main Figures, 22 Auxiliaries. 1. Zhu Shixing of Luoyang. During the Jin dynasty, Zhu Shulan Moksala. Zhu Shixing, originally from Yingchuan, was honest and diligent. His conduct was not altered by joy or torment. He was intelligent, talented, and aloof from worldly interests since boyhood. After his tonsure, he concentrated on Buddhist studies. In the period of Emperor Ling of the Han dynasty, Zhu Fosho translated the Daoxing Jing, Astasahasrika Prajnaparamita Sutra, which is the older translated version of the shorter Mahaprajnaparamita Sutra. However, it was too simple to be clear, so people had difficulty understanding it. Zhu Shixing used to expound the Daoxing Jing in Luoyang, but he found the statements sketchy and defective. He regretted aloud, "This sutra is an important Buddhist text. Yet irrationality exists in the Chinese version." Thus, he vowed to risk his life to search for the original scripture in the West, departing from Yangzhou in the 5th year of the Ganlu period of the Wei dynasty and traveling westwards across the deserts. Arriving in Khotan, he acquired a copy of the Sanskrit version of the sutra, which was 90 chapters in total, as he had hoped. He sent his disciple, named Punyadarsa or Forao in Chinese, to carry the scripture back to Luoyang. Before Punyadarsa left, many Hinayana learners reported this issue to the local king. Chinese monks want to disturb the orthodox doctrines by using Brahmanic books. Your Majesty is the owner of this land and should prohibit it. Otherwise, the Dharma will be ruined. Later, people in China will think, this is Your Majesty's fault since they are poorly informed. The Khotan king thus prevented Punyadarsa from leaving. Zhu Shixing felt remorse and requested for the king to test the scripture by burning it with fire. The king approved instantly. Thereupon, firewood was put in front of the palace to burn the book. Zhu Shixing prayed before the flame. If the Buddha Dharma should be rightly spread in China, the scripture will not be damaged by the fire. If the deities do not protect it, this will be the predestiny, and I will have nothing to say. Then, he put the book in the blaze, and the fire went out immediately. The book was intact. Not even a word in the book was damaged. Everyone was astounded and admired him because he touched the deities. Thus, Punyadarsa was allowed to return to China and sent the scripture to Shuinan Temple at Kongyuan, Chenlu. A layman named Zhu Shulan was originally Indian. His father sought asylum and came to settle in Henan. Zhu Shulan loved to hunt when he was young. In an experience of reviving after a brief death, he understood the law of cause-effect. Since then he changed his behaviors, studied hard, was keen on Orthodox Buddhist doctrines, and widely learned various linguistics. He was also proficient in both Chinese and Sanskrit. Moksala the Sramana, a learned bhiksu from the western regions, was erudite in ancient classics. He held the Sanskrit version of the Pankavimsata Sahasrika Prajnaparamita Sutra, while Zhu Shulan translated it into Chinese. The original manuscript was written on parchment and is still kept in Yuzhang. In the 2nd year of Tai'an period, Ji Shaolong transcribed 5 copies of the scripture and performed the redaction to finalize the Chinese version. Each chapter did not have titles at that time. The old version was on 14 bolts of cloth. Zhu Shulan asked Ji Shaolong to copy it into 20 fascicles. Zhu Shixing passed away in Khotan at the age of 80. He was cremated according to the Western customs. When the firewood was burned out, his body was still intact. Everyone was surprised. They then recited mantra and said, if the master was really enlightened, the body should have been crematable. To comply with Buddhist ritual, his body instantly disintegrated. The mass put his relics in a stupa that was built to memorialize him. Later, his disciple Fei returned from Khotan to China and reported the events of his funeral in person. Therefore, the Zhengshang Lun, the treatise on the right portraits, by Sun Chuo states, Zhu Shixing's body disintegrated in Khotan. To describe this event,